Hamas has said that it doesn't have 40 Israeli hostages who are being requested as part of a temporary ceasefire deal that's being hammered out. They say they don't have enough hostages to meet the criteria for release. Now, this admission does raise questions about how many hostages they do have on from October 7th still being held. Israel says that it's 129 hostages yet to be released. Meanwhile, President Biden came down hard on Israel in his sit-down interview with Univision last night. Let's watch.
Now, many media figures on both sides of the aisle are voicing their anger at Israel's actions and the slow response from the United States. First, let's listen to what Jon Stewart had to say on his show this week.
See, this is where Israel's actions get interesting, because you might say Israel's war is different than Ukraine's. Israel's responding to an attack and a hostage crisis. But in the midst of that, they pulled a little something in the West Bank on March 22nd that might be notable. That's not even Gaza. That's the West Bank. So you can't say it has anything to do with defending yourself against Hamas. Let's see if America upholds its rule against taking land.
He was referring there to, of course, an unprecedentedly large land grab in the West Bank, which is a clear violation of international law. Here's a little bit more from Jon Stewart.
Why do we tiptoe around on eggshells? They slap America in the face, and our response is, well, if anyone slapped us in the face, it'd be concerning, that's for sure. I mean, raising a hand to a delicate body part of the face, if true. The verbal gymnastics that the American government must undertake so as not to offend the delicate sensibilities of a country we provide most of the weapons for is...
All right, and making some strange bedfellows, Tucker Carlson also weighed in on the conflict as well, critical of the United States' position. Let's take a listen.
And you may be asking yourself, well, wait a second. If Christian leaders won't stand up for the lives of Christians, why have them in the first place? And that's probably a good question. So you would think that in Congress, where there are many self-professed Christians, somebody might be piping up on behalf of their brethren in the Holy Land. But no, just the opposite, in fact. For example, at a town hall event last month, Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg, a former evangelical pastor, said he would like to see the region treated like Hiroshima was treated. Watch this.
We shouldn't be spending a dime on humanitarian aid. I agree. It should be like Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
To be clear, as a theological matter, Christianity is not the religion of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's the religion among all world religions that uniquely abhors mass killing. In fact, it is the religion that abhors mass killing. There's no excuse for that from a Christian perspective. And here we have a former pastor calling for it.
So lots to discuss here. Just responding to what we just played on with Tucker Carlson, I'm seeing a lot of pushback from the more, I think, pro-Israel sides of the right, your non-Candace Owens, Daily Wire type people and others, saying that interview was distorting the situation. This is more criticism from the right than I've seen Tucker Carlson get in a while, interestingly enough. Of course, also getting a lot of support as well from the less hawkish side on the right, or the more, I guess, skeptical of unlimited funding to Israel, asking, what are we even doing here? How is this making things better? And then, him talking about the plight of Christians in the region. Remember the Justin Amash, former member of Congress, of Palestinian descent, born in the region, came here as a younger person, talking about Christian family members who were killed by Israeli military action, I believe a drone strike that struck a church. So it is interesting to see that discussed.
Yeah, one of the oldest Greek Orthodox churches has been bombed in the world. The birthplace of Jesus was bombed by Israel on Christmas Day. I mean, these are stories that the news outlets that are willing to cover what's been going on for the last 6 months and change now in Gaza are not news. What is news is seeing a media figure like Tucker Carlson coming around to reporting on it. Now he's choosing this very interesting lens, making a sort of a religious appeal, which I don't fundamentally have an issue with. I do think there is a deep hypocrisy among American Christians who claim to have an evangelical desire to both spread Christianity in the American way and our superior morality, et cetera, around the world, but have very much turned a blind eye, not just to a Christian population, but the Christian population that in many respects can be looked at as the original Christian population on earth. Now, needing to throw in the idea that Christians are uniquely opposed to violence or mass murder, talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki is overkill and bizarre. I mean, the three major world religions share largely the same texts, have the same prohibitions against violence. Buddhists would like a word about whether or not that they condone mass murder and mass killings, or however he framed it.
Yeah,
but
all religions have at times fallen down on stated commitments to not engage.
Of course,
in violence
including Christians, obviously. Need we not talk about the Crusades? Need we not talk about the what is often described as a Christian nation who dropped those very bombs, as Tucker Carlson alluded to? But I do think this represents an incredible shift in public opinion. We haven't talked at all about the Jon Stewart clip. What he did, we couldn't obviously play it for you in full. It's 7 minutes long or so. But he goes through clips of American leaders and spokesmembers of the Biden administration responding to Russian aggression in Ukraine, speaking very forcefully about how they condemn using food as a tool of war, for instance. And then when asked about those same actions when perpetrated by Israel against the people of Gaza, you get, well, I'm very concerned. And he has a supercut of John Kirby and other Biden spokespeople saying basically, oh, I'm concerned when they're pressed on why they have a very hypocritical stance when it comes to Israel as opposed to their condemnations of Russia. And so that's where you get that clip of him saying, well, maybe they'll eventually admit that they are concerned about X, Y, and Z. But this is the fundamental problem. Going back earlier to the Biden clip, he seems to be speaking pretty forcefully there about how distasteful he found found what? I think this is important. He wasn't speaking generally about Israel's actions in Gaza or the 33,000+ people have been killed. He was speaking specifically about the Jose Andres attack. That seems to be the thing everybody's comfortable saying, that's a red line, you can't kill the employees of the guy who cooks me dinner here in Washington, D.C. Still, real silence or middling responses when pushed on the question of the huge humanitarian toll that has been borne by Palestinians themselves, including Christian Palestinians. Yes.
Yeah, I think Jon Stewart made a lot of good points in his clips, which is, he's done this before too. I remember, I think a segment on his original version of The Daily Show where he talked about how if you criticize Israel uniquely, you get a lot of pushback, or you get a lot of accusations your way. He talked in those clips about why are we, the government that gives money to this other government, unable. We are the ones who have to walk on eggshells and refrain from offending them. It should be the other way around because we're supplying the money. Yeah, that's why they call it a client state, but it's not clear who, in fact, is paying this time around. All right, stick around with us. We have more Rising coming up for you next.